Kranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Kranky, and this is the Kranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Kranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out, subscribe now to the Kranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Kranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good afternoon. Hey, Drew Ross. Bless up, Drew Ross. Thanks for joining. Today, we're in day 10 of the 2024 Olympics track and field events. Today should be a good day. We have a lot of events on file for today, so it should be an excellent day. I'll run through some of those events. In fact, I'll put them up. I didn't actually plan to do a stream today because I was traveling a little bit, but I came back home and said, you know what? Why don't I jump on? Because it's probably one of the days where you have so many events lined up for track and field sequentially that it makes sense to make the day go quickly, frankly. Sometimes it can be challenging when you have a lot of lull and gaps in the events, actually. So I'm not sure if you guys can see this well. I'm trying to spread this out. But we start off at 1. I'm going to start out like 1:05 or somewhere around there. Not sure why this is showing up. Wrong screen, people. Let me take this down and put it back up. I'm not sure what happened a while ago. I have these lapses sometimes. But no, there are a lot of events today which are really interesting. Two of my favorites, which we'll go through, are the 4x4. And I think we've talked about this quite a bit, unfortunately, for Jamaica. We're not in the men's 4x4, which I still find amazing. But the women are doing well in that event. So let's hope that the women turn up today and they run well. It's going to be interesting because I'm wondering if Nikisha Price is going to be running, because I know she probably is not feeling well. It's probably the only reason one can explain why she ran the way she did. As you know, she should have finished down the stretch in the semifinal, which is not like her. So the hope is going to be that, if you look at the legs that we ran the other day, most people are doing like in the 50s, and she can do 48. So, and has done 48 this year. Not a lot of people have done 48 this year. So hopefully she'll be able to run, which would be a good thing. Bless Ty, thanks for joining. Max becoming a track and field fan. I'm impressed, Max. See, we brought you at your comfort zone, and now you're becoming a regular. That's awesome. Thanks for the support, Remax, but I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you doing something other than football. We know you proclaim yourself to be the football guru. Whether you are or not, that's a different story. But you do know a little bit of football, but track and field you're venturing out into. So we welcome you, and we're glad you're here, actually. So if you look at the screen, everyone, you can see we have a bunch of events, and they're sequential. And tell me if you can see the screen. I'm trying to make it larger, but it refused to cooperate with me. Okay, this is better. So we have the at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is in 15 minutes. We have the men's high jump final, which will go back and forth. Bless up Claudine. I'm not sure what that symbol entail, Claudia. You can elaborate. But then we have the men's 800-meter final, which is always a good race, actually. Those 2 laps races are always good. You have enough time to see the athletes comment on it, things of that nature. Arsenal won yearly trophy. No, we didn't win the FA Cup. We won we won second place. We max from we're in Champions League. That means we're competing, and people are picking us to do well again this year. I was going to say to win, but I don't want to make prognostication that I can't substantiate or we can't necessarily deliver on, because City is always going to be good. But I think we'll be better this year. We have 6 center backs, we max, so we'll be better. So we have the 800-meter final at 1:15, women's javelin, and you hear the interesting take by Thomas from Jamaica for the women's discus about how the field events athletes are treated, and I think that's true. And I hope it get better because they delivered in this Olympics, and the track athletes, frankly, didn't. But the track have delivered year after year. But we need to expand our horizon as a country in terms of field events, and also, to me, some of the more longer distances. Then we have a classic in the women's 100-meter hurdles final. I know that Akira Nugent, who's Jamaican's only representative there, Daniel Williams, ran out yesterday. My understanding is that she wasn't feeling well, so hopefully she recovers. Seems like a number of athletes have not been feeling well during this Olympics, whether it's the food, whether it's the heat, whether it's COVID, so much out there. Yes, I was talking about Price before, Claudine. Yeah, Nikisha Price. She did run out in this. When she got in the back on the stretch to go home, you could see that she just wasn't there. And it's not like her. She always had a good finish strong. She was way off. France, USA, that should be a good game. WeMax, good game. USA got, I digress a little bit. USA got lucky against Serbia. And in fact, if it was to be fair, I think Serbia was leading by about 11. What was it, about 5 minutes left? USA came down. Durant had the ball in the corner. Joker pushed and Davis. And Durant scored a 3-pointer. I think the push was before he went up for the shot. It shouldn't have counted. They got their 3 points, ball out of bounds. Booker hit a 3. To me, game over. They were within 5, right? And with the talent they have, and they buckle on defense, if they hadn't given that 3, they would still be down 11. It'd be hard to catch it up. So U.S. got lucky, but hey, I wanted U.S. to win, but they got lucky. Oh, she ended her season? I didn't know that. Yeah, did she have COVID, Claudine? Because I didn't hear that, actually. Did she have COVID? She didn't look right, actually. So that means Jamaica lose a really good runner for the 4x4. It only gets worse for Jamaica. It doesn't get any better. You'd hope that she would be able to run, but it doesn't get any better. So we have the 5,000-meter men at 150. Then we have the women's 1,500, which also should be good. And then we have 2 of my favorite races to close out the afternoon. The men's 4x4 and the women's 4x4. Should be really good. Yeah, I was watching part of that game, but I was also traveling. So I was watching part this morning before I left. But Serbia they play well. They play smart. They play well. They play off Joker most of the game. They probably should have done it more in the last 7 minutes against the US. Joker should touch the ball at least 2 or 3 times before every shot is taken. They went away from that. They were shooting 3-pointers way off. Granted, they were hitting shots earlier, but as the game go along, you get tired. The shot doesn't go as well as you like. Yeah, and that's why when people was beating me about when I said Lyle looked like he was sick, and some of the people, especially Jamaican people, get into their feelings about taking away from Tobago. It was obvious to me that Noah Lyles wasn't feeling well. Now, would he have beaten Tobago? We will never know, because 19.45 is a difficult time to run. You have to be running really well. but he wasn't 100%. And I think Price was the same way. Price, you seem like people, they lose energy, especially at a certain level. And people say, well, Noah jumped up when he first came out, because that's his show. Even if he's feeling sick, he's going to jump up and then subsequently realize that, you know what, maybe I used too much energy jumping up. I'm sure you realize that afterward. I've never seen a race where Noah wasn't coming down the stretch and gaining on people ever when he's running, even when if he ever loses. And he was going in the opposite direction to me in that race. But anyway, his Olympics is over. As Claudine is saying, Price is over. Well, Jamaica Olympics has been over before it started, frankly, on the track, not for the field events. I think the field events, we have exceeded expectation. We got what? Pinnock. We got what in the women's triple jump, men's long jump, men's shot put. One the only goal so far in the men's discus. So phenomenal field events performance. Phenomenal. On the track, different story. What we have, 2 medals on the track. Excuse me. So it's not, we have a bronze in the men's 110 hurdles. We have a bronze in the men's 100-meter hurdles. Nothing in the 2, nothing in the 4. Not a good thing, people. Not a good thing. Frankie said the same thing, Kranky, except she said she lost lactic acid. So is Femke injured? Also not feeling well? It's interesting. Yeah, this has not been the best Olympics, that's for sure. Not saying it was terrible, it's been terrible, but between the sleeping conditions, between the food, between the heat, I don't think the heat can get any better, people. When they come to Los Angeles 4 years from now, the world is getting warmer, so the heat ain't getting no better. So they better do like they're doing like Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, get air-conditioned stadium or something, or do the events at night and close the roof. But it's not a good thing. And the heat is creating so much challenge for people. And if the living conditions aren't optimum, then it makes it much more difficult. So you see, Claudine, I started, I'm in like, 12 minutes, and I have mentioned that thing, Claudine. So you see, I'm trying to get better, Claudine. I give people the option. If they want to, they do. If they don't, it's their prerogative. Can't force people to do what they don't want to do. But now I'm looking forward to today's events, very much so. And it should be good. Some of these races should be really, really good. So people, let me know what your favorite moment of the Olympics has been so far. No, your favorite and most disappointing moments. Because this is my last Olympic watch-along show. So let me know what your favorite moment has been and what your most disappointing moment has been. You impress easy to Claudia. Hey, Claudia, you know how to impress. Yeah, Warren. There's been complaints about the opening ceremony and how it stretched certain boundaries. I didn't watch the opening ceremony, by the way, and how it stretched certain boundaries. I didn't watch it actually. I think I was busy at that point, but some countries, I mean, the U.S. I'm sure the U.S. would be very pleased, even though they botched the 4x1 yesterday. I'm sure, bless up Warren. I'm sure they're very, very pleased about how they've done. And you think about the U.S. team, they won the 110. They got what, first and second in the 110. They came second in the women's 100. They won the 200 for women, and some of these are coming second too. They won the 400-meter hurdles. They won the flat 4 for men, so both 400 meters for women. They have done phenomenally well in this, actually. You could keep going. They won the men's 1500, which is ridiculous. So they, I didn't finish watching women's football. So they said they won. I know they were leading. But I'm just talking about on the track and field. They won the men's shot put. They've won a lot of medals. A lot of medals. They lost the mixed relays, which was surprising. But they've had a phenomenal Olympics. All the medals we used to win, they won. Now Tobago did upset them in the 200, which for them would have been a guaranteed, but they didn't have that. So they swept the men's 400. No, they've done phenomenally well, and they should be happy. Forget about all the silvers and bronze that they've gotten. So, and they may win the women's 100-meter hurdles today, because I know Nugent supposedly not feeling well. So many people not feeling well. So Warren says Tobago and Thompson lost. Those are two very good ones, actually. Two very good ones, Warren. Tobago, who lost his mom, actually, and his mom was like, her 40s. She's young. That's sad, actually. But he won, and he won for his country, which was awesome. And that may have been is that their first goal? I can't recall. It may have been, actually. But he ran really well in the 100, even though he did medal. He had like a personal best and a national record, I thought it was. And then he won the 200 with a ridiculous time. 20.45 at 21 years old is a ridiculous time. But and then Thompson lost. I actually, when I called the race, I did say Thompson won. I thought he won, given the angle I had. I think that's probably, yes, bad loss. Claudine said, favorite is here in Jamaica anthem playing in the stadium. So what's your worst, Claudine? And we only hear the anthem played once when we won the discus, right? I think that's once. We normally hear it play quite a bit. 4x1 sometimes, 100 women, 100 men. Well, not 100 men in a while since both retired, but 200 women. We normally hear it plays quite a bit, but not this time. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know they were leading 1-0. I did see that go, but then I switched it off. So yeah, it's been a tough Olympics. Yeah, Alfred win is good, but I think Tobago's win is just as good, actually. Alfred win, I think one of the favorite moments has to be when you watch how people in St. Lucia celebrated. Now, they didn't show us people in Botswana, but they showed the people in St. Lucia. You know how Jamaica would be at halfway tree watching it on big screen? They have similar construct or similar setup in St. Lucia, and people lost their mind. What the funniest moment I saw was, it wasn't in the square. They showed you another video of some of the people watching it, and it was wet. I don't know if it was raining there, it was wet and dirt there and wet. And this person was in white and in their white sneakers, and they were so happy. They just stepped down in the whole dirty, muddy place. I thought that was funny, actually. I'm not sure. I probably would have done that, but because I have to look down later on. But no, the enthusiasm, how ecstatic people were was a great thing to witness, actually. So more love and more power to Alfred for winning, and then getting the silver in the 200. Really good achievement, actually. And I'm sure she'd be celebrated quite a bit. She may even get a statue in St. Lucia, giving them their first Olympic medal. And not only Olympic medal, so they've gotten them 2 now, but also a gold medal, which is, she has to be almost like a national hero, frankly, especially since they have less than 200,000 people there. And some countries with much larger population have never won India's never won. Pakistan has never won. You can name a ton of countries. I don't think Nigeria's never won the 100 meters. And they have millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people. So, yeah, awesome. And Claudine said, my least favorite is Paris. Seems to be a menace to the athletes. Yeah, it hasn't put them in the best light, right? It has been challenging for them. Paris has not put them in the best light. It's been a difficult time for the athletes. Not every athlete. I think people like the basketball players who probably live in their own little world, their own little bubble, as they normally do, except for maybe the first day. They don't have some of those problems. They're exposed when they go to the stadium for basketball, but apart from that, they're probably more, not say quarantined, but they're more exclusive in terms of where they're staying and who they engage with. So Yeah, Noah had COVID actually. I'm not surprised Noah had the way Noah looked. He looked like he had COVID, and he's not the only one who had COVID. But my problem with Noah having COVID was he was spreading the COVID. Now people telling me that you're outside. If you're hugging me, I don't care how much outside you want to be. You're breathing on me. You're spreading the COVID. And for him to run with the COVID knowingly, that wasn't cool. For him to be there hugging people in the stands and doing all sort of stuff, that wasn't cool. Now he looked sick after the race. People are saying he was jumping around before the race. I think that was just a show. I had honestly believed that he was sick, and obviously he didn't run the 4x1, and they changed their lineup setup, and unfortunately for them, that cost them because I was on Coach Minz's channel talking about this, and people were giving me a hard time because I was pushing back to say a couple of things. One is about Noah. I was saying Noah must be sick, and they were saying I'm taking away from Tobago, which is ridiculous. Kid is phenomenal. And then secondly, as it relates to the relay, people making all sorts of excuses about marker and looking through legs and take. I'm like, and they change up the lineup, and Carl Lewis is frustrated and getting all carried away and upset about who ran at what leg. Yeah, that's important, but frankly, Bednarek took off like somebody called him from the stands. He took off, nobody close to him. Coleman is way down the track and he took off. I have no idea where you're going. And by the time he realized it, he's outside the zone, almost outside the zone, and it was just a mess from there. So that was him, and he owns it. But Kranky, this is the first Olympics that we didn't get much records, only Sydney run a world. Yeah. We had some Olympic records, but you're right. I think that's the only world record we have gotten. No, the records are getting harder to break, Conditions have to be right. So if it's too hot, food is not good, people not feeling well, it's not conducive to break a record. Sometime, and also in the Olympics, people are trying to win, so it's more tactical the way they run. The only race I think I've seen where people just run like crazy was the 10,000 meters men. If you look at some of the races even yesterday, 5,000 meters women, they were just jogging. 10,000 meters men, like they went on and said, you know what, we're just going to make sure if you're in the last group in the last 3 laps, then you shouldn't have much legs left. And they were just running like crazy. But most of the other races were tactical. Bless up, Emerson. Thanks for joining. Hey, Emerson, our team is looking good, Emerson, but we need a center forward. Yeah, Warren, I totally agree. How do you have COVID and you just spread that COVID to everybody around you? And you think, and and it's not only him, Warren. It's the U.S. Athletic Association. They said he had COVID from Tuesday. And they let him run. They let him go spread the disease. Now, he had mask on when he come on the track, but he was not running with a mask on the track. So I don't know what that's about. That doesn't make sense to me. No, it's Kranky G Emerson. It's my DJ name. Well, I keep making a mistake. It's not DJ. My dub poet name is Kranky G now. But no, it's bad that he was allowed to run actually. I don't know if it's the worst Olympics ever. I'm just trying to think about what's the worst Olympics. I was in London 2012. That was a very good Olympics, by the way. That's when Bolt. That's when we set the world record in the men's 4x1. That's when we had that ridiculous team with Weir and Bolt and Blake, and we had Shelly Ann. That was a phenomenal Olympics for Jamaica. And if you're a Jamaican then in the stadium, you're a celebrity, at least for a day. But yeah, I don't know if it's the worst Olympics, but too many happenings, and COVID is not helping, right? Because even when they had Tokyo was much more restrictive because COVID was rampant then in 2021. It was much more restrictive than this one has been. I'm not sure people would agree for it not to be, but I don't think it's okay, frankly, to run when you have COVID. I don't know how that can be okay. Because people act like COVID still doesn't kill. It may not kill at the frequency it did before, because people have been immunized. Well, they have been immunized. They have taken the vaccine, not totally fully immunized, but at least it's restricted the ability for the virus to do the damage that it's done previously. But I'm not sure why, frankly. I'm not sure why, you would have lost some of the run with COVID. And COVID is going to be here for a while. I don't think COVID is going anywhere. It's mutating into different things. I do see Beckford just cleared 2.17 for Jamaica. So he's in the high jump. Maybe I'll pull that up. We have the 800 meters men coming up in about 10 minutes. So we'll look at the high jump. This is the list. And Beckford was the first person on the list, actually, who jumped. Well, not the first person on the list. He's in, it's a ranking order. Jan Stefala has missed already, and so is Ivanov. I don't know how you miss on your first attempt. That's tough. Tough to miss in your first event, actually. I mean, your first try, actually, at the lowest height for that competition. Emerson says, have you seen all the preseason results today? And just hope Apollo have made a note of all our comments from his channel. I have COVID twice on top of the illness. Wow. Yeah, stay safe, Emerson. Not good. COVID is not your friend. I've had COVID twice. I haven't had it in a while, but it does leave some damaging effect. It just doesn't leave. You don't realize that you probably have some things that are happening to you. You don't realize it's COVID related, but it can be damaging. I had COVID real early in the process. I was out for like 3 weeks, bedridden, lost like 13, 15 pounds in 3 weeks. It's a good weight loss program, but not one I want to repeat, actually. We Max said, I would agree that the Olympics is bad, but I have a feeling that it's because we ain't winning. Only we Max. No, we Max. I think it's just, I don't know if the Olympics, because I don't think it's every event, right? They've had some problem with the water. Some people being swimming in some of the water. They've had problems on the track in terms of, and in some of the events. But your sleeping arrangement have to be good for athletes, right? Athletes sleeping on the outside on the ground, the food, the accommodations. Yeah, maybe it's not been to be at the opening ceremony. Maybe, you're right. Maybe it's not been the best Olympics. Too many things to complain about. BM says Brazil has become such a disappointment in football. A Spain versus USA final would have been better. Yeah, you hear me, people. For those of you who probably follow when we talk about football, because some people are just track and field fans. You hear me talk about the Spain and how they're playing. Now, they lost in the semifinal of this tournament, but you realize that they won the men's. They won the men's European under 19. They won the women's Olympic last year. They went to the semifinal for the women's. They won the men's Euro. That's an amazing run, people. And you hear me beating the drum about us trying to get a Spain coach or trying to work with Spain to help develop a style of play for us. We're talking about athletics today, but I'm going to talk about it on Monday. That's a ridiculous run that they're on. And Brazil is doing the opposite. They're not winning anything. You may say, Kranky, I saw Jamaicans popping out calculus for an event we don't even know. Yeah, well, we might as well, right? Because it's been challenging. Kranky's grinding here. People come and share. They don't want to and share. After the game, the fingers are frozen. So I'm not going to whine about it anymore. I've decided that I'll do this, and if it gets to the point where I ain't making progress, and I'll do something else. Because I'm a DJ artist. No, I'm just do something else. I find things to occupy my time, actually. Maybe I gotta play some dominoes, either in person or online or something. I'll occupy my time. Ain't that difficult. DC saying the French sports authorities are not the best as management of these big sporting events. Even Roland Garros tennis tournament, I remember when a huge object fell and injured several people. Yeah, they haven't distinguished themselves. They probably won't get back to the Olympics anytime soon. They have not distinguished themselves on this Olympics. I didn't hear this much about Tokyo, even though Tokyo was restrictive. So, Tokyo was very restrictive. I'm looking at the high jump. Still early in the process. Very, very early in the process. You know what? We're gonna start the 800 meters in a little bit. So maybe I'll come out of this and go into that. And if you guys, we don't run. I keep saying this about Jamaica. We don't seem to run past 400. We seem to have an aversion to running past 400 meters. We go past 400 and something's wrong with us. That has to change. I'm sure we can run 800 if we spend time working at that event. I don't think it's beyond our means. If we in prep school have kids run 800 and even 1500, if the Africans can do it, we can do it. Lineage may be extended in terms of timeline, but it's there. See, the Africans are not running sprints. We can run 8 and 15. Definitely. Before the games, I would travel to New York to play you table tennis. You seem to have a decent game. I have a decent game in most things before the game. Don't you realize that? That's why I made that video. I wouldn't have made the video if I couldn't play some of those games. I played all those games. I stopped playing table tennis a long time ago, though. From like I was like 15, 16. When I was in high school, we played 24/7 basically. If we weren't playing football, we were playing table tennis. I was playing for my high school team. I was in first form, so no, good sport, love it, but it's not a big sport in the US. So, do I think what's easy, Claudine? Kranky, it's hard. Do you think it's easy? Do I think what is easy, Claudine? Jamaica. So BM says, Ottawa won an Olympic gold in 800. Imagine if Jamaica continued. Yeah, where I lived in Lucy, Ottawa had a house, right by Watson Taylor Park. He had a huge house. No, but he was a brilliant runner. When did he run? He ran in 48 and 52, right? He lived a long time too. He ran in 48 and 52, I think it was. Yeah. Herb McKinley, him, Roden, bunch of them. They had a great team then, actually. Great team. No, but Claudine, running 100 ain't easy either. Running actually, I would think 400 be even more difficult than 800. 400 is ridiculous. You're sprinting 400 meters. At least in the age, you get a little bit of a breather, even though nowadays people are just running pretty quickly. But I think 400 is probably the hardest event there is to run. It just takes a lot out of you, especially given the level of the athletes nowadays. So the athletes are coming out for the 800 meters. I see it, Harpel from the USA. They're introducing them. It's only 8, And it's not like some of the long events like 5,000, but they seem to have a whole army. So that's good. See Marco Arup from Canada. Where did Arup originate from? I know he's African descent, but he's a good runner. Let's see how he does. His best time this season is 1:42.93. There's some other number runners who have better times, but no, he does a good job actually. And now we see Wanya. I'm always messed up his name. We'll call him Emmanuel. Good runner also. Yeah, no. Didn't Otter beat Herb in the 400 gold medals? I'm almost sure I saw that actually. I think Otter won a gold in the 400 when Herb McKinley was supposed to win. And I watched that on documentary actually. And Otter went one, if I don't recall well. Wint was probably about 6'4", 6'5", tall, lanky, brilliant runner. And actually was a doctor. He was a doctor in Lucy at one point, actually, way back when. Oh, you played table tennis 16 played against him. So you must be pretty good then, Warren. If you're repping your parish at a young age, even though most people in Jamaica play table tennis when they're very, very young. So you must be good. Good sport, fun sport. I had to make a choice between table tennis and football. It wasn't much of a choice, actually. The practices for my high school team conflicted. So they're getting ready to start the 800 meters for men. Runners are on the track. Now, why is NBC going to commercial when the runners are on the track? They try to squeeze in commercials every single minute that they can. Yeah, and Herb was supposedly the better athlete, but he never produced. And they're off for the. And NBC is actually showing something different. Let me switch on NBC. I'm watching another channel for the men's 800. I'm not sure what's happening here for NBC. Or maybe I need to switch it. Yep, there. On 800 meters is off. And who is leading? Wanyon. I'm going to call him Emmanuel because I always mess his name up. As Claudine says, it's a brutal race. They run the first lap. If we're going to run it about, no, they're actually on the second lap. And they're basically sprinting the 800. Literally. Emmanuel is fighting out. Who's he fighting with? The French runner, who is Gabriel Tual. So it's Wanyoni from Tual. And here come the Canadian. Here come the Canadian down the stretch. He's going to catch him. Arop is going to catch him. But what's his name coming out? He's not going to catch him. It's going to be a tight finish. Tight finish. Wanyomi first, Arop second. And who is that? Sejati from Algeria third. Mr. Emmanuel did it again. Emmanuel was brilliant as a youngster, you know. I was like a 18, 19-year-old. He's done it again. Won the 800 meters. He got Kenya the gold medal. I thought, yeah, Kenya the gold, Canada second, Algeria third. Good race. Tough race. Nothing close to the world record, though. Not world record pace. And that's a personal best, 141.19. Wow. I love when athletes run their personal best in the biggest events. I thought that Rupp was going to catch from Canada was going to catch him actually, but didn't happen. You know, sometimes the Olympics not your best race, you know. So the Jamal, he was coming, you know, I think he tried that late run and it didn't materialize because the two runners were too strong in front. He looked like he would have caught them in the stretch. That was like a Fenky Bowl type run. But then they weren't giving up. They weren't giving up. And especially Wanyoni, he looked like he found something extra because he was slowing down in the stretch. He looked like he was reaching. I'm watching the race now. Tual was really behind him, pushing him, and then Tual fell off. The Jamal came through, but didn't work. Didn't have the energy. He tried. Don't know. He looked like he was going to be good in the stretch when he was coming through. It's almost like something hit these athletes. I noticed that, you know. It happened to what's his name from England, the kid that ran the 400. At some point, it's almost like you shut down in the stretch. Arap lost by 0.01. He had to stretch his torso a little bit further. He barely lost that race. I thought he was going to pass Emmanuel in the stretch, but that didn't materialize. So we just saw the 800 meters. Kenya with the gold, Canada silver, Canada not a medal, Algeria with the bronze. Good race. Enjoy that race. Very, very good race. Today's going to be a very busy day on the track, actually. at 1:35, which is 15 minutes from now. The 100-meter hurdles will come up, and we have some quality athletes in that event. The women's javelin is now. I just put this up quickly, not spending too much time on it. 12 competitors. It starts soon, but let me go to the we'll go to the 110 hurdles. It's kind of funny that we have a number of records still. Look at the 400-meter women, which have not been broken in decades. Like some are from the 80s, when you know what was rampant. They're not look like they're going to be broken unless people start finding ways to circumvent the process and the system. But the 100-meter hurdles is coming up at 1:35 Eastern Standard Time, so that should be a good race. Yeah, I mean Williams is a interesting runner, isn't she? She does well in the World Championship, but not the Olympics. Before the game says, I mean dominating overall in Olympics. Also, the USA beat Brazil in the Gold Cup earlier this year. Yeah, Brazil is Brazil, not playing well. DC said, I don't think the Kenyans and Ethiopians get much credit for how strategic they can be, but how they manage themselves during these races. Their strategy seems to be their runners' teams, right? They normally have about 2 or 3 runners in the races, not necessarily this one per se. And they run as teams, especially for the longer distances, and they switch who goes to the front. Someone can take the pressure and manage. Could be in the front, especially if it's windy. It's a challenge. You can be a barrier and help your runners to bring them along. But if you're running by yourself, it becomes much more difficult. People, I need 2 seconds. I have to get me some water, and I forgot to bring my water with me. Give me 2 seconds, people. I'll be back in a jiffy. All right, I'm back. And my water is here, which I forgot to pick up. See Barshim, Mr. Star in the high jump. I'm going to do his jump now. He's been around for a while and jumping for a while, and he's just so smooth and graceful going over the bar. So who are you guys picking for the 100-meter hurdles? There are some brilliant runners in this race. Masai, Camacha, Quinn, Stark. It's a loaded field. It's a loaded field. Hopefully Nugent can pull out her best. She hasn't run well in the last race. Beckford is not going for his jump. Let's see how he does. The height has been moved up. He got up it pretty smoothly, actually. Let's see what height we are. Real smoothly. Really good form. And he gets up real high. Yeah, but the Americans didn't really get caught, did they? They did as much drugs as everybody else, but they never really got caught. People have questioned Flojo's records in the 102, but there's no proof that she took illegal stuff. So those records were maintained. So the Italian is now going to jump. Oh, he knocked the bar down. That's surprising. Warren says Trinidad is out of their minds. No medals. They have been very critical of their federation. So I'm almost. You know what? We do have a Trinidad in the house. Maybe he can tell us what's happening with these countries, with these countries, athletics in general. It's not only track and field. I'd be curious to know why Trinidad is in the place it is. A country that had so much oil at one point and was maybe the richest nation in the Caribbean, probably. It's a little bit surprising with Trinidad is from a sports standpoint. I know what's his name. Richards ran well in the 400, but just didn't medal. But Trinidad normally used to, if you go back Trinidad all the way, well, people like, yeah, they had good athletes. People like Hazley Crawford from way back when and more recently. So many runners, but it's been an interesting journey by Trinidad. And let me Trinidad can go to an entire Olympics and don't get one medal. Grenada has a medal. St. Lucia has medal. That's not a good look, Grenada. I mean, for sorry, not Grenada, but for Trinidad. There's no way Trinidad should not. Cuba has medal. Cuba don't have any resources. Now, quite a few Caribbean countries don't have medal, but if St. Lucia is producing medal, if Grenada is producing medal, and Grenada's smart enough to focus somewhat on, say, the field events between javelin and discus. They've been doing well there. But it's a little bit surprising Trinidad has no medals. Yeah, no, Trinidad has decided that they're gonna move away from track and field and do something else. I have no idea what that is, but it doesn't look like they want to get involved in the track and field thing. They just show up to make up the numbers. Not a good look, Trinidad. You're not representing the Caribbean well. As I mentioned before, 1:35 Eastern Standard Time will be the time for the 100 meters for women. Should be a very, very, very good race. Really looking forward to it. Warren says, my wife is Trinidadian and could not say a thing about our Jamaican. Well, it's good, Warren. You know, because at least you can say Jamaica did poorly, but by their standards, but still had a number of medals, right? A couple on the track, a few in the field events. Not 4 in the field events, 2 on the track. Well, Jamaica has 6 medals, if I'm counting right. Even though some people predicted like 12 or 18, whatever we're predicting, some ridiculous number. Nowhere close to that. No, Trinidad looked like they have decided to take off a permanent vacation from being very good at sports. I'm not sure what it is. But you always trace those things back to resources and leadership, or lack thereof. Whenever you see a country is going a certain direction, whether it's just a country in general, or certain aspects of the country, whether it's sports, whatever it is, it's a combination of sometimes it's resources, but a lot of times it's the people who are the elites who are running those organizations or the leadership. And it doesn't bode well for Trinidad given how things are going. And when Trinidad had like a Jack Warner who was very influential in FIFA, then they had resources and they could do certain things, but with his demise, that hasn't helped him. And I'm sure he permeated other sports. He just didn't focus on football. I'm sure he probably had influence in other areas. So not a good look. Yes, Russell Latipi, Dwight York, Stern John, and a bunch of players. As you mentioned, Otto Bolden, Lara, they still produce good cricketers, though. Give them their due on that. Even though West Indies is poor, they still produce halfway decent cricketers. Jamaica doesn't really anymore. But now they have fallen on hard times in life. Well, we're assuming that Guyana is getting a lot of the high money. From my knowledge is the oil companies, the problem with developing countries and the multinational corporations is developing countries don't get the advice and expertise to help them because the people who are leading, they know everything, and they have the wisdom and the acumen and the smarts to engage with individuals, and they get robbed brutally, which is I think probably Guyana also. Because Guyana get certain royalties from the oil produced. I think Exxon take most of the money and probably charge them for stuff, which if you go audit them, you'd be shocked. And then there's always people involved who are getting paid under the table. I'm not saying that's in Guyana. So I want to come back and say that's in Guyana is taking bribe, but normally happiness, money's paid under the table to people, and then the people who are getting the money paid, they'll make deals that are not favorable to the country, favorable to themselves. And that's why you need independent parties to oversee these organizations, to oversee these people. You need like 2 or 3 different organizations, independent of each other in a given country, to oversee these operations, oversee the contracts, oversee the arrangements. Otherwise, you get robbed clearly, right? So if you even go to Jamaica about how certain land is sold, certain deals are made, it's the same thing for a lot of developing countries. Not Jamaica alone. It's Jamaica, Trinidad, African countries, a lot of them. Their natural resources are taken out and not valued at their appropriate number, appropriate price. And Guyana would be no different. So we'll see what happens to Guyana. Now, Guyana is making some improvement in a lot of different areas. I think what they're trying to do initially is build out their infrastructure, but Guyana is a very poor country, so we'll see how that works out. Did we overestimate the medal haul, and did we carry athletes and know they were not 100%? Well, no, I'm not sure they know they're not 100%, but I think athletes who were 100% went, which is part of the problem. So we're going to have the women's 110 coming up. Let me just go to the list. Lane 2 will be Serena Samba Mayela from France. France seemed to have runners in almost every race, 2 people, which is not normal for France. Nanine Visser from Netherlands in lane 3. Grace Stark from USA, lane 4. Masai Russell, USA, lane 5. Alicia Johnson, USA, lane 6. If you notice, all the 3 USA runners are in the middle of the track lined up, so they know what their competition is. Excuse me. Jasmine Camacho Quinn from Puerto Rico, and she's been running brilliantly in lane 7. Devine Charlton from Bahamas, who's been running well also. And this is her last race, lane 8. And then Jamaica's Akira Nugent is in lane 9. Let's hope she finds her best form today. Let's hope to drink some bush tea last night to help her get some energy. Because I don't know, Jamaican loving a bush tea now, so let's hope she drinks something to prep her up. Let's hope she drinks something to prep her up and get her boosted and get some energy so she can run her best race. The runners are lined up. And the NBC is not showing them yet. The world record is 12:12 by Ami-san, who is not in this race. She ran out yesterday. It should be a good race. We cannot say there's no such thing as a 100% athlete, right? We can say people play sports with nicks, but you can't say somebody's not 100%. Some athletes are in good place, but some athletes are going to be struggling because you get nicks here and there. PRL said the world record is safe. I don't know. We'll see. Akira Nugent doesn't look good, people. I'm telling you right now. Akira Nugent does not look good. She looked like she's ill. See somebody walking out that way and they just don't, or their face, they're not smiling. There's no energy. It's not like she's serious and say, I'm focused. She doesn't look healthy. She doesn't look healthy at all. Most of the athletes look good. They're serious. They're focused. I just saw Masai Russell, Johnson, Akira just like, I don't want to be here. I want to be here, but I don't want to be here. I'm feeling like crap. Devine Charlton looks ready. Akira is the only one to me who looks unhappy, to be honest. So she must not be feeling well. Camacho Quinn looks really good, smiling. She's ready to go. Should be a brilliant race, people. The women's 110 hurdles, again, lane 2. Samba Mayela from France, Visser, Netherlands, lane 3, Stark, USA, lane 4, Russell, USA, lane 5, that's Masai, Johnson, USA, lane 6, Camacho Quinn, lane 7, Devine Charlton, lane 8, and Jamaica's Akira Nugent in lane 9. And these hurdles can be unforgiving, as we've seen in some of these races. You hit one, sometimes you race over if you hit it poorly. Women's 110 hurdles. They're at the starting lineup. They're not on their marks yet. And Akira Nugent, yeah, Akira just looks different. Doesn't look happy. I hope she just pulls something out and get a medal. It's a very, very tough field, people. Very, very, very tough field. Very, very tough field. Very, very, very tough field. They've asked them to go on their marks. They're going down. Samba, Visser, Stark, Russell, Johnson, Camacho, Quinn, Charlton, Nugent. Women's 110 meters hurdles. Yes, it is an honor to be in any final of any race, frankly, especially when you run against the best in the world. They're set and they're off. The Americans are there. Akira is out of the race. Johnson's out of the race. It's gonna be upset here. It is. No, Camacho Quinn did not win. I thought Camacho Quinn would win the race actually, but that did not materialize. It looked like Stark Grace, but let's just see what the final result is. It looked like Russell won, actually. It looked like Masai Russell won. So Russell was there, Camacho Quinn was there, and also Samba was there. I haven't seen the final finish yet, but yep, it is Masai Russell first, Samba second, Camacho Quinn third. Yeah, Akira Nugent didn't run, people. I'm telling you, she shouldn't have gone out there. She looked horrible. She looked out of it. See, did not finish. I could tell by her face, and I saw that on Noah's face thing also is. There's a look you see when somebody just looks sick, and they're just like, I don't want to be here. There's a lot of tears. The French Masai Russell is beside herself. She cannot believe what she just did. Not Masai Russell, that means Serena Samba Mayela. And she just barely lost to people by 0.01. She's beside herself. So for those people who hear me always whining about, as Claudine always tell me that I'm whining about the need for crowds to support the athletes, especially Jamaica football. You know how well France have done in this athletics? Amazingly well. They're in almost every final or semifinal. And we don't know if France has any big athletic country that's dominated the event. She lost. She was leading early, probably too early. Actually, if she ran through the tape, she may have done better. She was leaning really early. But no, I think Russell won, but she was leading. The French runner, Samba Mayela, was leading too early. I'm going to look at Akira Nugent. She started out, she hit the first hurdle, and that was it. Yeah. She hit the first hurdle, and second hurdle, third hurdle, ran out of bounds. She didn't have the energy to go over those hurdles. Yeah. Now you can't blame Nugent. She just wasn't. She wasn't healthy enough to run. She shouldn't have ran. Those hurdles are unforgiving, you know. Stark Grace found it out. She hit the hurdle, the third hurdle, and that was her race. Yes, Americans have dominated. They won the. So what race they've lost? They lost the 100 meters for women, and they lost the 200 for men. Frankly, the only one I think they probably should have lost was the. If Lyle was fit, he probably gave Tobago a better run. Tobago still may have won, but America's dominated the tracks. Actually, dominated. 1, 2, 4. They've won 15. Yeah, they've done phenomenally well. Both hurdles and also the open, the flat sprint. So well done to Masai Russell. Brilliant run. But I think Samba Mayela probably is a story for France, coming second in such a very competitive field. But Jamaica, I think Jamaica should just go home. What we have left, 4x4 for women, we should just go home. It's one of those things you just write off and say, you know what? This didn't work. This is as bad as it gets. As bad as it gets. That's awful. We have always done well in the hurdles, actually. Last World Championship, Williams won. In this race, we ran out. Yeah, Nugent just didn't have the energy. And people don't realize how. I mean, if you've had COVID, actually, I don't know what COVID is like nowadays, because when I had it, it was bad. First of all, I don't think I ate for 3 weeks except drink some water. So if you've had it, depends on what. My second one wasn't as terrible, but I don't know if Nugent had it before, but it looked like she has something. Either a stomach virus or something, but she doesn't look healthy. Yes. Yes. Yes, Bora Singh. PRL. A lot of athletes have been sick in it. This Olympics has not been the best Olympics. And France will take a lot of the blame. Whether it's the sleeping arrangement, the food, whatever it is, the water, whatever it is, but it hasn't been the best. Far from the best, actually. So they have to own that. Very much so. So we have the men's 5,000 coming up in the next 8 minutes. That also should be a good race. And the Caribbean hasn't had the best Olympics. I mean, 400-meter flat for women, 100 meters for women. What else? Long jump for women. I think it was. Was it long jump or triple jump? I think it was long jump. So some gold in some event. And if you go into the field events, Jamaica won the discus. Jamaica only has one gold medal. I think it'll be the only gold medal of the Olympics. Because even though the 4x4 team is good, I don't think we're winning that. So it's a tough Olympics for Jamaica. And not the greatest for the Caribbean, actually. 5,000 meters have 22 runners, a lot of runners. And we don't run past the 4, so yeah. It's not a good thing, not a good thing. This is a very, 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 very difficult Olympics. Yes, Warren, I thought. But you know what? One thing I say about Japan, people in Japan are extremely meticulous. I mean, if you've been to that country, meticulous to the T. So everything was extremely well choreographed, checked, double checked, triple checked. No, they weren't invisible before the game. They just weren't productive. We saw Richards run in the 400 flat. He ran really well until the last, 60 meters. He faded away. But he gave them a run for their money. He gave Watts and the kid from the UK a run for their money. But so I won't say you're invisible. Well, you know what? I'm going to stick with your term. Yeah, you weren't that visible. People saw you, but they didn't see you. How about that? Because to be truly seen, you have to be very competitive and even get a few medals, actually. So And the U.S. team, they want to win all the medals. They want to win all the medals in all the events, frankly. So not a good look. And by the way, people, we're going to be having the 4x4 also coming up. So let me go back here. 10. The 4x4 for women is at 314. So while out. And 4x4 for men also. Jamaica is none in it. Women's 15. So Jamaica is only final race of Jamaica is the women's 4x4. I think we're still in the high jump, so I should go back to that with Beckford. Men's high jump. So Beckford cleared his first, and he hasn't done well since. He's way down in 10th place. Started off decent, but it's been downhill from there. So we can change away from Beckford. It's been a tough Olympics, people. We have an Olympics we would like to forget. Not a good look. Boris Singh is saying, was on yesterday, but what do you think about Perek's Olympic record finally being broken in the women's 400 meters? No, I thought it was a really good race. Really, really good race. And but at least Perek's record wasn't, I don't think it was one of those I'm gonna call it souped up. I call them souped up records. I don't think it was a souped up record. Let me take this up. I thought it was a good record. So it being broken is a good achievement. The ones which are hard to break are the ones from like the 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, early 80s, where the athletes were juiced up. No matter what people are saying, they were juiced up. And it's unfortunate that some of these, you can't prove it because they didn't have the evidence then to prove it. As you see with like the Russians, see more recently. And these dopings were systematic, people. They weren't like athletes taking individual dope. They were state-sponsored doping. So Polina's run was brilliant yesterday, actually. Winning the gold for Dominican Republic. Brilliant run. I thought her only competition would have been Nikita Price, actually. But Price was not well. I mean, think about it. Why are all the Jamaican athletes getting, well, not all, but Price is sick. Nugent is sick. Is there something in Jamaican camp? I guess that's the question. And those athletes are built pretty similar to actually Price and Nugent. So is there something in the camp a bug in the camp or something? I don't know. It's not a good look, though. Certainly not a good look. Very unfortunate. And I'm sure there got to be a post-mortem conducted. Mr. Brooks, Vinci, bless up. Thanks for joining. I'm sure there's going to be a post-mortem conducted to figure out why Jamaica performed so poorly. Has to be. Because we have had one of our worst Olympics in a long, long time. Really bad situation. Really bad situation. Trying to look up something here, people. So I'm looking at, normally when you look at the medal standing, right, we'd be up there with the U.S. So maybe I'll post this. For track and field I'm talking about. And you see how dominant the U.S. has been. It's ugly. Very ugly. So this is the medal standing. Jamaica's still up there now. It's amazing. Even though we've been poor, I'm trying to widen this, people, and it's freezing on me. So look, this is the medal standing for track and field, right? Track and field medal standings. So US has 30 medals, Kenya 8, Canada 5, Spain 4, Great Britain 7, Jamaica 6. Canada is obviously, gold medals get the preferential treatment. So the ranking is based on sort of who have most goals, frankly, not necessarily total number of medals. If it's total medals, Jamaica be what, fourth? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Jamaica be fourth if it's total medals. But in terms of goals, Canada have 3. The US have 12 in track and field. It's amazing. Normally we are up there. We'd have taken the one. We used to take the 1, 2, 1, 2. That's 4 right there. And we throw in a sprinkler here and there, 4x1, 4 by maybe even once in a while, some other event. We'd have at least 6, 7 goals. Right now, we have one, as I call it, Jamaica, one digga goal. One diddly goal, actually. We're getting to start the men's. Let me pull this up, people. Seems you have a race on the track coming up. But I thought it was important to sort of show this because we're still in the top 10, put it that way. Even though we've had one of our poorest Olympics. So maybe we shouldn't get all despondent. We're finishing up above a ton of other countries who have much larger population, but per capita we're doing well. So I guess all is not lost, people, even though we feel that way. All is not lost. So trying to bring a little bit of solace to all of this, and you can feel good about yourself that we have done not great, but we're far from being the worst. We're in the top 10. Well, no, quality or quantity, we're still in the top 10. Because it's based on quality, which is gold, we're still in the top 10. We're in top 10 for quality and top what? Top 5 for quantity. Let's see how Inga Brunson run in this race because he flayed out in the 1500. So it'll be the men's 5,000 meters. It's about what? About 12 times around the track? 12 force 48, yeah. Just over 12 times around the track. Well, they can't. I mean, you can. The race is off, people. There's so many runners that they have to have like 2 separate lanes, and they all come together. You can spin thing any way you want, DC. So they'll say, look, between the location, the food, the sleeping arrangements, COVID, it's a lucky we did as well as we did. We should be pleased. And the main thing we're missing about are the injuries, right? So if we had Sharika running, Price running well, Nugent running well, there's a bunch of medals there we probably would have gotten. No excuses and then Oblique got injured, so couldn't run the 4x1. So there's a bunch of different things you can provide to say the reason why we didn't do well. And I'm sure many will agree with the administrators in that argument. So and some of those arguments are legit, right? It's not like you're making something up. It's legit. Some of those arguments are legit, but having said that, I still think we should have done better. We should have done better. It's not a good look. Not a good look, people. And I'm sure we'll do better at the next Olympics. See, I'm predicting the future already. We have some youngsters coming through I think will be seasoned, mature, at their peak. Now, the rest of the world is getting better in everything in life, actually. As we saw with the basketball for men's when the U.S. team yesterday should have lost the game, not for the referee from my view, and struggled. So the world is catching up, and we see all the African sprinters coming through, and 4 years from now, they'll be better too. So it'll be interesting to see how we come out. But we always come up with some individuals who we didn't anticipate. And 4 years is a long time. If you're 16, 17 now, you're 21, then 20. So all is not lost. Ted Dexter, you're taking it to a different level, Ted Dexter. If you put it that way, yes. The U.S. has about 330-something million people. And we have 3 million plus Tracy and Hudson. So they're the ones running for us. So we have 3 million plus, whether it's 3 million or 5 million, whatever number we have. So yes, there's a big difference, right? Big difference. Big difference. If you're gonna take 5 million versus, if it's really 5, it's not really 5 for athletics, maybe for football. But if you say call it 4 million to 300 million, yes, per capita we would look really, really good. Since they only have 30. So yeah. Good question, Warren. I don't think any country wants to sabotage the athletes, because I think every country wants the goodwill that the Olympics provides, right? So it'd be a self-inflicted wound if you're trying to sabotage an event just so your athletes could do well. I don't think that'd be a good thing, because then you're gonna have a bad reputation as a country, which is, people are always thinking about the bigger, the larger objective, which is part of it is to sell France. There's tourism there; they'll make their money back. But how do I sell the country as a tourist destination, as a well-developed country? I don't think they would do that, actually. I just think French food is French food in France. COVID is COVID. The water is the water. And they could do better with the sleeping arrangements, because there people were very uncomfortable. So, but it must be very expensive, and you have to be conscious that when they finish with the village, what happened to all those equipment? For example, the mattress that you use. I don't know, the mattress, the beds themselves. Do they just throw them away? So many athletes. So I don't know how one rationalizes that. I know in the World Cup, for example, in Qatar, they made these stadiums with materials which they could repurpose and move and transport someplace else and use for other purposes. So they were very thoughtful about how they would ensure that the stadium doesn't sit there as ghost towns or ghost stadiums, but they break them down, and at least some of them, and redistribute the material to do something someplace else. 5,000 meters is the 5,000 meters. 8 laps to go. I wonder if some athletes realize, I can't win, so why not go in front and just run for a little while and make myself feel good, like I give a shot. Do you think people do that, people? If you're in a race, you know that, what, I cannot beat this field. I won't even medal. Do you think some people just go in front to get that notoriety, that prominence, with a view that, what, I'm not going to be here long and I will never be able to win? I'll be curious if people think that people would do that. So after this, so we have a few more races. We have the 4x4s coming up after 3:00, which should be maybe an hour from now. It should be very good. As you can see, the people are changing. This is a list of people who is in the lead and where they are. So people are changing places continuously. And who you guys are picking to win this race? I'll be curious if you're familiar with the 5,000. It should be a very, very, very good race. And also, people, do you think we can medal in the 4x4 for women? That's our last race of the Olympics. We look good in the in the qualifier. The question for us is, we lost price, which is a big loss, actually. So that's going to affect us negatively. And 4x4 is going to be tough. A lot of good teams, especially the US. A lot of very good team, especially the US. I always wondered when you're running these races, what are you thinking? You're running that so long. When I used to do, I never used to run, but when we used to train, and I used to run. I mean, I'm playing football. My only concern was, when is it going to be over with? Like, it just seemed like when you're running in space, not chasing anything forever. Yeah, that I need to find that out, Webster, about whether or not the France athletes stayed in the village. I'd assume that they probably want to set an example, and that was the case, but I have no idea. So we have Mihari in front from Yehoon from. So the Ethiopians always seem to be running together. Heyman's from Belgium, third. And the Kumiwan Nayo from Spain. Well, Inga Britson is now in fourth. They're switching places. The Ethiopians are in front. About 5 runners trading places. Inga Britson is probably saying, I'm tired of this. It looks like he's moving up closer and closer to the front. I'm sure he wants to redeem himself from the 1500. So where he didn't even medal, which is amazing. But the race is still pretty bunched up, actually. Probably about 3, 6, 9, about 15 athletes in contention. There's sort of 2 packs now. One pack has dropped off. The Ethiopians seem to be pushing the pace. Yehoon and Mihari, or Yehoon and Mihari, seem to be pushing the pace. Running 1-2. You have 4 laps to go. So the race is starting to get tight. So Jacob better go on with something. What position is Jacob in? I don't even see him, actually. He's still down in the pack someplace. Some days you just don't have it, Some days you're out there, and especially if people are just at different stages in terms of how they feel. Some days you don't have it. But now Jacobs is in a good place. I think he's running with his countrymen in about 6th, 7th place. So, but it's 3 laps to go. They're starting to stream it out now. People are trying to lose people, so they're now, yeah. Well, he's in the 5th, 6th place. He's probably 6th, along with his countrymen there. Both he and Kurgat are in sort of similar place. It's going to be a tough race. But you still have at least 15 runners who are in good proximity of each other. So I think somebody's going to take off. After they've reached with 2 laps to go, someone's going to take off. They have to, especially if you don't have the best kick, you have to push the pace. So the other Ethiopian is now gone in front. Hiwet is gone in front, and I think he's taking off. Just like I suggested, he's taking off. He's saying 2 laps to go, and what he has is 2 countrymen behind him. This must be a strategy. Ingebrigtsen is going with them, but they took off and it surprised everybody. Now everybody's scrambling to catch up. Ingebrigtsen is not gone into 2nd place, chasing Gibberet, Ingebrigtsen. Then we have Mihari and Yehoon, but I think they're going to drop off. Kurgat from Kenya is in 5th, trying to catch up. I think they'll catch up though, because you still have over 400 meters to go, maybe about 460. So I think the Ethiopians went too early and they're now dying like flies. Sorry, people, but they're dying. Ingebrigtsen gone in front, and he looked like he's gone, but then he looked like that 50, 100 meters. But Jacob, yeah, the Kenyans are coming. One is coming. Ronald Quimoy is coming, but Ingebrigtsen looks like he's gone. Done. He's gonna win. Wow. Wow. This race didn't turn out well. I think the Ethiopian didn't run that smart. Ingebrigtsen took the lead at the top of the key, basically strolled home. I didn't think it was a smart race. Ronald Quimoy from Kenya came second, and Binian Mihar from Ethiopia third. Yeah, no, Jacob and them fell down. They ran out of steam. Ingebrigtsen eventually ran easily, actually. Mr. Ingebrigtsen ran well. I thought you were talking about the Kenyan crop Jack Garnes. I know you're talking about Ingebrigtsen. I thought you were talking about the Kenyan. Yeah, but it's been an interesting Olympics. Norway is becoming very strong in distances, actually. It's not only Ingebrigtsen. Norway seemed to pick that up, actually. Ingebrigtsen just took the race just before they came off the backstretch, and he was gone. He wasn't even close. Nobody had the stamina to stick with him. Good run on his part. So Norway with a gold. I have to look at those medal stands again. So now we finished the 5,000. Now we're going to have the women's 1,500 meters, and then we'll have a lull. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll come back with the 4x4 for men, and then the 4x4 for women. I'm glad they finished it with the women 4x4 versus the men. They should keep rotating that, actually. And the women 1,500 should be good. And that's at what? 2:15. That's 8 minutes from now. We can look at the lineup. 12 runners. Let's see if Faith redeemed herself in this race. I don't think she had the best Olympics. Got beaten by a countrywoman earlier. So let's see if Kipyegon will redeem herself in this race. Tough field also. So we have what 5 events remaining for the day. Only 3 on the track though, and 2 field events. USA always medal. USA take medaling for a joke. And what USA has done is something I've talked about we need to do. They're running the distances now. They're not just running 1, 2, 4. They're running everything. They're running 8, 15, and medaling some. They won the 1,500 meters. So they're medaling some of these events. We need to expand our horizon. I think with the women, javelin? What do you guys think about this? Should if athletes are perturbed about something, should they call out the federation in public, or should that be handled behind closed doors? What do you guys think? We'd love to get your opinion. Because we see Thomas Dodd come out and chastise the federation for not having a coach at the Olympics. So should this be done in the public domain? And we seem to have this so much in Jamaica. It's amazing. Or should it be done behind closed doors? What are your views on that? Should athletes come out and voice their frustration in the public domain, or should this be they voice the frustration with the administration and work with them to make sure it doesn't reoccur? Jargon say it depends on each case. I would say, yeah, it's a fair point. Because the question for the athlete is, when you come out in public, are you meant to shame the organization? Is it just you're frustrating, you speak out? Is that you don't have self-control? That's why you speak out? What's the rationale for speaking out? Are you trying to effect change so that those come behind you will benefit from your outburst? What are you trying to achieve? So Faith is both the world record holder in this. So we'll see how she does in this race when it comes up in the next 5 minutes. She's both the Olympic record holder and the world record holder. 349. Look at the difference between the world record and the Olympic record. 349 to 353. It's a big difference. Big difference. DC said, normally I would try behind closed doors, but if I get no response, I would go public. You can have a way of delaying while pretending to be resolved. I would agree, DC. As you're saying, it's based on facts and circumstances. If I get at what you're saying is, if I try this subtle method doesn't work, then I throw the grenade in the room and blow it up. And she blew it up. Nah, we know people are trying to type fast. Don't worry about spelling and all that. We're not looking at those things. We just want to make sure we can interpret what's being said. When you're typing, especially if you're on a phone, like I did on my iPhone, I was gonna make spelling errors. We just know that you mean what you're trying to communicate. If we can discern it, then we're good. Runners are coming out for the 1,500 meters for women. Kipyegon Faith is the world record holder and Olympic record holder, and she's in this race. Yeah, I think Jagons, I hear you. But as DC was saying, if you try that method and it doesn't work, what do you do? We see that a lot, actually. I won't say a lot. We see that in Jamaica. We had it with a 100-meter runner, didn't we? That went to the World Championship and didn't get to run the relay team. His name is eluding me now. And then we saw it with some footballers, or one footballer was a well-known player. So the question is it just that these things happen? Is it negligence on behalf of the administrators? Is it incompetence on behalf of the administrators? What are the key drivers or rash reasons as to why we have these situations where athletes just get frustrated with the administrators because things are not operating the way they do? And what's happening to people is that some of these athletes leave the Caribbean. They go in much more professional environment. They're now used to that. And they come back to the same nonsense that they left behind. And they're saying, why don't we improve? Especially in athletics, where Jamaica has done really well. But not only that, they now have camps in Jamaica. Not camps, but they have organizations in Jamaica, right? You're part of a setup, whether it's finance team or you're part of Mills or whatever it is, all these different organizations that are supposed to be professional and operate in a certain way. And there's a lot of sponsorship in track and field for Jamaican athletes. So you'd expect the best, not challenges. BM said Jamaican football and track athletes have been at odds with admin. However, people often criticize the athletes for being unpatriotic. Reality sports are played on and off the field. Yeah, I think it depends, frankly. I think it's based on facts and circumstances. As been alluded to before, I do think sometimes athletes speak out inappropriately. Sometimes they have unrealistic expectations given resources in the Caribbean. But I think a lot of times it's the administrations and their ego which creates the problem, right? Because they're part of the elite in those big fish in a small pond, and they operate that way. And sometimes that doesn't bode well because the athletes have had exposure, and that exposure create expectation. BM says, some people don't understand that incompetent administration can negatively affect the performance of the athletes. Yes, all the time it happens. In fact, you hear people come out and say, for example, if the Jamaica Reggae Boys don't make the Olympics, then not Olympics, the World Cup, sorry, then it's the JFS fault, right? You hear those comments. Is that the case? Who knows? But I think sometimes if things are not working well for you, then you can't really maximize your potential on the field. So, for example, part of my frustration has been something I've talked about, which is I think you have to be physically present at an event to give the athlete that 10% difference between them and the opponent. Because I do think in sports, when you hear your name being cheered, when expectation is created when somebody's there physically, it does help. Women 1500 is getting ready to start, people. And they're off. Keep your gun. Fate is the world record holder. And the it's interesting that the Ethiopian is always running out in front. I have no idea why she always does that. Then she ended up not finishing. No idea. Good up. Sergey always goes out in front, and she hasn't had the best Olympics. She's taking this one out fast, though. She looks like she wants to run him into the ground. Let's see what the first lap will be. I'm saying it's probably about 60, 59, 60. No, it's even quicker than that. And she's taking it out quite a bit. 3 laps to go. I think 104 for the first lap. It's going to be interesting, right? Kiptagan, Fade looked really comfortable, though. She's in second place. She's really comfortable. Well, TG is in third place, looking good. And Jessica Hull was run well, actually. Ran really well in the semis. Is also really running good, along with Ellie St. Pierre. So it's going to be a ding-dong race, people. It's going to be a really good race. Let's see what Tissigay does. She always takes the lead and don't finish. I'm not sure why she doesn't change her style. She ran me a Ghoul. Even though Ghoul doesn't have a kick, I think sometimes she goes too quickly, and then she has nothing left. So we have 2 laps to go in the women's 1500 meters. Tissigay in front, Kipyegon second, Walterjai third, St. Pierre fourth, Hull fifth. Tissigay is Ethiopian, Kipyegon is Kenyan, Walterjai is Ethiopian, St. Pierre USA, and Hull from Australia. There's about 7 of them up front, though. It's gonna be an interesting race. They're bundled up, real bundled up. Faith has not taken the lead. She has faith in her, and she's gonna probably try to run the rest of the race at a blistering speed. Actually, we're in the final lap. Keep your gun in front from Walterjai, Hull, St. Pierre. As I thought would happen. Tissigay, she must be running like a rabbit in the Olympics because she's sure just kills herself early and then can't finish. Kipyegon is in front, and she's stretching it out. They're around the corner, 200 meters to go. It's Kipyegon from Walterjai and Hull and Bell and Muir. Hull is going to put a push on the outside, and she's coming hard. But I have faith in herself, and she's taking it out, and she's gone. It's going to be between Hull and Walterjai for second. Walterjai and Hull. Walterjai and Hull. Faith is gone. It's goal to Faith. Walterjai is dying. She may not even get the bronze. In fact, she will not get the bronze. Coming through on the outside at the end looked like Bell from Great Britain. I think Walterjai will end up being fourth. But Faith has won in a new Olympic record. Wow, she's a brilliant runner. 351, and her previous Olympic record was 353. But our record is 349, so it's not shocking, actually. Hull second, and George Bell third. Good race. Well done. Yeah, the Hussey ran well, and she ran well in the heats, actually. She's very strong down the stretch. But Kipyegon is just a different athlete. I have no idea why Tissergay, she must not be fit, runs the way she does. She keeps going out in front and just dying in the last lap. So then you slow the field down and hopefully they have some strength left. I'm sure Kipyegon was very disappointed that she lost her countrywoman, but she's another gold medal. And she's screaming. She is ecstatic. So is Hull. So is Laura Muir from the UK, who came fifth. And Bell from Great Britain snuck in there to get third. Welterjai looked good, actually, but that oxygen and that lactic acid kicked in late, real late. I thought Georgia Bell ran a really good race, actually. You could see her straining, and she just nipped Welterjai at the line. No, I don't know why she run the way she does. She's done that. She must run at least 3 or 4. She ran at least 3 races. I can't remember what they all were, but the same race. She go out in front, she runs for a while like she's a rabbit, and then she dies. Literally. Not sure that's the best way to run people. Give yourself a chance to win. I don't think she gives herself a chance to win. But fate had faith in her ability. With 2 laps to go, she took over. And you see, so many people ran their personal best. That's what I love about the Olympics, right? National record for Georgia Bell. But look at the personal best for even Welterjai, who came fourth, Laura Muir from the UK, and Ejori from Kenya. All personal best. And even way down the bottom here, all these people ran really well. Tissergay, I'm not sure what her story is. Always going out in front and then can't finish. Change your style. The out front style is not working. Try something different. If what you're doing is not working, you have to mix it up. The men's side jump is still going on. Still a little way to go in there. The New Zealander just cleared. What did he clear? Brushed the bar, but he got over. So we have 2 more events on the track for this evening to bring us to closure for the 10th day running, and 2 brilliant races. Now, I would expect the U.S. to win both the men's and women's 4x4, but the second and third place should be good. I'm sure the U.S. would not put Quincy, the 16-year-old, on the first lap again because he died yesterday, literally. Literally died on the first lap. I think he finished like second or third to last. They almost threw it away. And he ran so brilliant in the trials. It shows you that, I'm not sure if he's also sick, but he looked poor. And he was running brilliantly for the U.S. trials, but he was poor yesterday. Very poor. But I'm sure they'll bring their A team. They have a bunch of players that they can bring in to run like the other Quincy. So they have 2 Quincy's. One will not run, though. The 16-year-old will not run. Let me pull this up. See if their team is out, what team they're using. Or they're showing you all their runners. So I'm sure they're going to have Quincy Hall running. I think Wilson will be running. Michael Norman may also run for them. Even though Michael Norman only ran well in the first heat in this individual 400, I thought he was poor in the semis. I thought he was poor in the final. Michael Norman has fed off significantly since the World Championship. So Garm says, feel real Kranky. I noticed that as well with this 16-year-old. Yeah, no, he was poor. Look, he's young. He's a baby, but He ran like a baby. He was poor. He was struggling. He had a tough lane. I think he had about lane 3 or something like that. But he was way down the track. They show you how good their team is. They brought it back from that far down to be like, I think they ended up like 3rd, but they almost gave it away. Yeah, the relay should be good. It's a little time before the relays. They start what time? 3 o'clock is the 4x4 for men. So we have another half an hour, or frankly, 35 minutes before the 4x4 for men, which should be really good. Hopefully the U.S. gets some challenge in these races. I don't think the U.S. women get a challenge. If they're going to bring in the alien to add to their team, it's going to be tough. They have a good team, and they're going to bring the alien in. She's probably, to me, the best 400-meter runner in the world, even though she's running the hurdles, flat 4. Sydney has been doing it since she was 16, and she's only getting better every year. I wonder if she just like did what Sergey Bubka used to do in the pole vault, where just break the records by incremental small numbers. So I just keep breaking it. Because if I was her, I would never run all the way out if I know I'm breaking the record. I would do enough to break it and break it like, because every time you break it, you're going to get some more portion of money. So why would you break it significantly at your best? You should just break it in increments. So every time you run, you make a big pot. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Norman, actually. He ran 44.10, I think, in the first heat. And then after that, he was keep going backwards. So not sure what his story is at all. So Grant Fisher, when U.S. won so many, I did win so many distant races, and they're doing okay in the high jump too. Let's go back to the high jump, which is a way away. Let's see where we are in the high jump for all these jumpers. So this is the high jump standing. We have obviously 8 left. Trying to see the number here. So 1. So we have a tie, it looks like, 236 between Hamish Kerr. We don't want to see another U.S. jumper, people. Jeez. Sorry, I hate to be that way, but man, are they going to win everything? Making it boring. Shelby McCowan is tied with Hamish Kerr from New Zealand. I thought another U.S. jumper just got. No, it's Shelby. It's Hamish Kerr. Shelby is in first. I thought there was 2 U.S. jumpers in here. Maybe wrong. By the way, Beckford dropped out. He only cleared the first height. Didn't go further. Jack Grams is saying, hey, Kranky, how about them U.S. soccer ladies? They showed the metal. Yeah, no, they bounced back from the World Cup, right? I thought they got lucky. Who they beat 1-0? Was it Japan? I thought they played well, but hey, to come here and win the gold, U.S. The thing about the U.S. in football nowadays, people, and they call it soccer, they just got so much facilities and so much people playing. And here, what people are missing in the U.S., the families, especially travel soccer, they get involved. I used to work with someone who they would be leaving from Chicago, go to Florida. They fly to games, they drive to games, they drive hundreds of miles. They're on travel team, best coaches. And they have to pay a lot of money too for some of these teams. It's not cheap, people. But they're getting good coaching. They have good facilities, good fields. They learn good technique. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they've been a force in women's soccer for years, but I think the men are also going to be a force at some point. Now, Europe is always be challenging because that's life and death in Europe. But they spend a lot of money and time on football, actually. Sports in general, but in football. Emerson says, Kranky, Hurricane just won his first trophy. Annual. Come on, Emerson. You beat up Harry Kane. Kane left Tottenham where they couldn't win, and he went to Bayern. They still lost. Wait. He went to Bayern. This is amazing. And Bayern won, like 10 years in a row? Because I know Dortmund Dortmund collapsed the year before. Leverkusen won, and then he went there. He's a top scorer in the league, and they lost. So even though I think Emerson, we need a center forward, it tells you a lot about Hurricane is, as they say in Jamaica, is salt. In salt, bad. Salt, bad. But yeah. What was the score in the game, Emerson? I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch the City game either. I was busy this morning. Yeah, that's true, DC. They used to be very dominant. But the world is catching up. It's like everything else, right? You went dominant for a while. They won World Cups. But then Europe started investing money in football. Like in England, football wasn't huge for women that much. But the money coming in football in some countries have a trickle-down effect. And they're investing in grassroots. And yeah, the world's caught up with, especially Spain, which is really have good strategy in their football. I think Spain has a strategic plan. It may have been a 30-year plan last time I talked to before the game about it. But their football philosophy is effected and implemented on the field, right? You look at their footballing philosophy and you can see it in terms of their style of play and system of play, which, countries need to adopt. Yeah, Hurricane salt, but I do think for most countries you have to have if you have a good system of play and you implement it and you have good coaches, because Spain has 3 times as many UEFA A licensed coaches as any other country. At least they did at one point. I'm not sure if that's changed. Last time those stats were provided out. So, and that doesn't mean that because you have UEFA licensed coaches that you're the best in terms of coaching, but it seems that way given how many coaches they have in the best leagues in the world. Look at England. They have about 6 in the Premier League. It's crazy. Yeah, no, it was. And it's still ongoing. I'm telling you, I used to have colleagues at work and all their kids play soccer, right? Because what people don't realize in the US is a lot of kids the Caucasian kids get dissuaded or just get frustrated by playing basketball where the competition is very difficult and Black Americans are dominating. But what people don't realize is that somebody will take a spot. So if you look at the NBA today, over 30% are now Europeans or people outside of, I would say Europeans, but outside of the US. Before it was a much smaller number. And a lot of those are Caucasians from Europe, for example. You saw that yesterday with Serbia team, where they have Bogdanovic and the Joker playing for them. They're not being dissuaded from doing so because people around them are just like them, right? And you don't feel intimidated. So it's really interesting how that works. But in the US, all those kids all those suburban moms play football, and the family's there with the kids, and the dad may go with them, and the mom may go. They may take turns on Saturday, or 2 different kids may have 2 different games someplace else. They load them up in one car, another car, and they go to their games. And at some point, you got to get good if you play sport long enough. Emerson saying Man City won and penalty coming to Shield, and Bayern won. How did Man City win? I thought it was 5-5 at the end. Explain that to me because I missed something. Man City won on penalties, and Bayern won 3-2, and Hurricane was not among scores as he was his first match. And yep, we do need a striker. But question: who uncover? We need that. I heard the Marino deal may be done, right? We're talking about Arsenal now, people. I hear the Marino deal may be done so we get an 8 if he's done. Neto went to Chelsea, so we don't have him for wing, and then we need a striker at Arsenal. Yeah, but before the game, the USA has money. I don't disagree that the administration in the Caribbean and other countries can do better, but there's a reason why developing countries are challenged because they don't have the resources sometimes, or sometimes the intellectual capital, even though they think they do. Because you hear the U.S. complaining about immigration and that all poor people come to the U.S. That's not true. Everybody come to the U.S. Poor, rich, short, tall. I was in some debate this morning about this. Everybody come to the U.S. In fact, the more skilled workers probably come here just as much as everybody else. That's why these other countries struggle because they lose all those intellectual capital, which the U.S. then hoard. And then those countries struggle because who's going to be the innovators and inventors and overachievers and entrepreneurs. That's the problem for a lot of countries. Remax says facts talked about the same thing yesterday. What about Remax? What are you talking about? Yeah, and and they want to do that, Jargons. Actually, it will be open. It's becoming more open. Actually, it's tough when you're in the city because you don't have enough fields. Our good fields. It's sort of easy in suburbia to find good fields and coaches. And the problem with inner city kids in the U.S. and teams is they cost money to play football. It's not cheap in the U.S. for a lot of people. If you're in a city like New York, in the Bronx, Queens, you can play football, but fields are limited. Really grassroots. Doesn't have the same investment. The U.S. was smart given how grassroots situation where kids will play those sports much more and invest in sports much more than invest in their education, frankly, they would invest in a city to get those exceptional kids, but they don't do enough of that, I don't think. Frankly, if they did, they probably wouldn't be, they're probably concerned that they wouldn't be in the teams. Them. Okay, you look at the composition of those teams, and those compositions are changing. The U.S. women football team was one time mainly Caucasian. That's changing. And the men's team, same way. In the men's team, they recruit a number of players from overseas. That dynamics will continue to change over time. The more they invest in the kids, especially inner city kids, the more they'll unearth talent and the more they're better able to compete. So, what's 76 76 PKs? Okay. I thought I saw 5. I was looking on the app. It showed me 5. Okay, so they did score 76. I know Edison scored his PK. I think we would love to see. I would have loved to see Edison play out on the field one of those days because I think he's probably a good footballer. As I mentioned before, we're gonna have the Bashim is out, so we only have what the U.S. is. The U.S. is wow. So Bashim may get the silver along. It depends on who have the most miss. So the U.S. is in the last 2 for the high jump people. Why don't we just call this the U.S. Olympics on the track? Like seriously, this is the U.S. Olympics on the track. This and field, frankly, it's ridiculous. Now they haven't won as much field events, but they have won a few, right? They won the shot put. What did they won? I think they won one of the women's jump too. It's crazy. Man, you signed the list for 50 mil. They're spending money. They signed the kid from France for 60. They did for 50. Zerky for another 30 something. Spend that money, man. You spend it to come 8 again. Before the game says own personal pleasure while leading the masses. Yep. That is true. So before this game said the problem with progress in the region is that some of our leaders seem to be enjoying the Caribbean in the same way the colonists did. They benefit from the resources for their own purpose. Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem with developing countries, actually. It's not just the Caribbean. It's Latin America. It's the Caribbean. It's Africa. Now, you have it in the developed countries too, but it's less apparent. It's more covert. And the way it's structured is they have a lot of checks and balances to mitigate some of that. We don't have that in developing countries. The same people manage themselves, oversee themselves, make decisions. Crazy. Really crazy. Yeah, no, I think if you look at some of the teams in Europe now, right? So Germany is more diverse. England has always been and is more diverse. France is just diverse, period. You would think France is majority, before you see their football team. And the differentiator for Spain in this Euro were the 2 wingers who are diverse. So diversity does help you quite a bit if you want to differentiate in quality to excel in a lot of sports, actually, especially where the sports is physical in nature. Yeah, in the Caribbean before the game, it's sad that a lot of those in power. You know what I think, actually, people? I think a lot of people go into politics in the Caribbean or the developing countries or sports administration with the best of intention. But when they get there, they realize, you know what? It's bad and I can't change it. I either acquiesce and get co-opted or I get kicked out. And they're just like, you know what? I'm going to take mine and go. If I can't change it, I might as well get something before I leave. That's the way I view it. So you'll never make meaningful progress if that's the attitude and perspective of those individuals. But some of it is understandable. And it's sad. I do think, though, what those countries also do, for those who have migrated and have achieved and can really provide substantive help, intellectual and otherwise, the people on the island who are the elitists, they create barriers, they create restrictions to preclude you from getting involved. So then, therefore, you can't provide the assistance you could to help improve things. And that is why we have some of those issues and problems. And that's developing countries in general. No, BM, I don't think so. I think he's going to be a good player, but I don't think he's going to be the next star. I didn't watch the game today, so I don't know how he played. But look, he's young. It's hard to predict. He's what, 19, 20, somewhere around there? But he's a good player with a lot of skills. Didn't get a lot of game for Argentina, which was surprising. They didn't want to play all the old guys so they can, like, Di Maria, because this was his last game in Copa when he played when they won. But no, he's a good player. But he's the next star. I don't think he's going to be the superstar. He's going to be a very good player. You probably get to the Rashford level, which is a good level, versus the who is a superstar on wing in football. There's not a ton of them, you know. Maybe there's no real superstar winger. I mean, Leao from Milan, Saka from Arsenal, good players, very good players. Nico Williams, Jamal. There are some. There are no superstar. There are people who, if you call Mbappe to play out wide, maybe Mbappe is the one. Others are very, very good. There are some very, very good players. And by the way, Emerson, I hear we may be able to push for Kingsley Coleman on loan. I love Kingsley Coleman. He can't score a lick, but he can create enough havoc to help us, actually. So hopefully we pursue that loan because we need support for Saka. People are waiting for the 400 meters men, which starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time, so in 18 minutes. The high jump is going on. It's between Shelby McEwen from the USA and Hamish Kerr from New Zealand. They both have jumped 236, but I do think they both have 2 misses too, so it's going to be interesting. Yeah, he probably get a good run BM because Di Maria retired, right? So probably some of his not the most natural successor, but so we have the high jump going on. They have jump. They only have 1 jump remaining. 2 competitors remaining. Hamish Kerr from New Zealand and Shelby McEwen from the US. Essa Barshim, who normally does well, just dropped out. But he did jump his season best of 234. So, Kranky, why are politicians in Singapore different? I think when, Singapore got their independence, I think similar to Jamaica, But they also didn't have, it wasn't the most democratic society, Michael, wasn't it? Right? But I do think, look, your persuasion sometimes influences how you're engaged by the rest of the world. I think your culture also influences how you operate. I think if you have a culture which is sort of about the individual and selfish versus the collective, then it will be a challenge for you to be successful as a nation. And in some cultures and how some people operate, it's about the individual versus the collective, even though they want to tell you how national they are. So you look at Singapore's progress, not like Singapore have a ton of resources, but they have done phenomenally well as a country since their independence. But I think it's similar to when Jamaica got independence. And if you look at the direction of the 2 countries, plus, I'm going to say this, people are going to hate me saying this. Part of Jamaica's problem and part of Jamaica's success It's been how close it's been to the US. And I'll leave it at that. Um, yeah, but I mean, the wheelchair was overstretched, but he was sick. The wheelchair was overstretched. He acted like he was dying. I think he was probably more disappointed from losing, but the wheelchair was overstretched on Noah's part. Even though people say he looked like he was having a heart attack. Yeah, he has been brilliant actually. He's such a graceful jumper, but and he came third, right? To medal again. Emax is saying before the game, I've said that to Kranky yesterday. People with more power, education, manipulate the masses, damage the region. Yeah. The problem is, people, we can't change it. The most frustrating thing is that if you can't influence something, the question is, what do you do? We can't change it. We cannot change it. And sometimes you're not helped by the countries around you because everybody fighting for power. Everybody want to manipulate and use the smaller nations. The smaller nations may have leaders who lack vision or are just selfish. We have this tribal instinct and mentality, and it's not good. We're waiting for the men's 4x4. In the meantime, we're making conversation. So we watch the men's high jump, and Shelby McCohen just jumped at his last jump, and he didn't clear the height. Let's see what Hamish Kerr does. These people, these two names, these names don't fit these two athletes. I'm telling you, these athletes like these names should be switched, but that's just me. It's very funny looking at these names and look at the person's physicality and like his names don't marry with the athletes, but hey. So Kerr from New Zealand has his last jump. Yeah, tied for first with Shelby McCohen. When I hear Shelby McCohen, I'm thinking Irish, I must admit. So you gotta forgive me. And you tell me Hamish, given his physical appearance, doesn't look like a Hamish to me. But that's why you should stereotype. Yeah, Shushan, but no, I was right. The NBA can be up in their feelings all they want. No, he's right. And if in fact Serbia almost beat them the other day, so they almost weren't the world champions, right? So if the NBA loses to France, should it be the NBA championship anymore? They should have lost the game to Serbia, as far as I'm concerned. You can't call something we call the in America we call the baseball the world championship. Like Japan doesn't play baseball, like Dominican Republic doesn't play baseball. How can it be a local league is a world championship? That's ego personified. It's not a world championship. It's a U.S. championship, and they should call it that. It's ridiculous to call it a world championship. The arrogance is unbelievable. For somebody to call, can you imagine Jamaica calling the JPL a world championship? Or, okay, here's a good analogy. Should Jamaica call its high school champs high school world championship? It's the equivalent, right? I think Jamaica high school champs is the best in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Per capita or otherwise. I think it's the best in the world. The times being run, the level of the athlete, the level of the organization, how it's administered. So should Jamaica call the high school championship the World High School Track and Field Championship? It's ludicrous. Totally ludicrous. Makes no sense, and it's just about arrogance. If you're going to call yourself, we change a sport name to fit what the U.S. is doing, calling football soccer. You have over 200 countries in the world play football, and one country call it different, and we use that name much more so than it probably should be. And the ball used in the U.S. doesn't look like a football, because you don't really kick it with your foot, except you kick field goals and you kick off. That was only 2 times you use your feet in the sport. It's ludicrous. If you want to talk about it figuratively or literally, so it doesn't make sense. We're 11 minutes from the 4x4. I'm looking forward to the 4x4 people. They should be good, both of them. Even though the U.S. may run away with them, but second and third place should be good if that's the case. Yes, Omar, it is a superiority mentality. And look, nothing wrong with being think you're good and demonstrating you're good, but if other people takes onus with it, then you should just live with what they're saying because it's not a world championship. And if NBA players gonna get into their feelings, it's ridiculous, right? Now we could call this Olympics track and field the U.S. track and field championship. They dominated, but we don't call it that, do it? Do we? We call it Olympics or we call it the world because all the athletes of the world are competing. So no one knows what he was talking about. And some of them are saying they don't agree with Noah. And you're just like, so here's me being derogatory. You have to be somebody who's not thinking to say that an in-country game played amongst only team in one country, even though it has international athletes, is a world event. Now, one could say, look, the best players from the world play in the US NBA, but they have a European basketball league. They have a basketball league in Taiwan, whatever country you want to talk about it. So unless you're saying all the players from across the world, there are European players who get chance to play in the NBA and decide not to take that chance. So you can't call this a world. I mean, there's some credence to it in some respects because most of the best players may play here given the monetary consideration, but it's still not a world championship. It's not. So Omar said, yes, both sport. That's because U.S. top sprinter was beating us 9. Yeah. In the men's, not necessarily the women's, because I think when Bolt won, Shelley won the same year, right? 2008. And Merlin was good for a while, but Gail Devers beat her a couple of times in 100. But you're right. It's pretty pretty clear that Bolt was a bolt, a lightning bolt, and give it that jerk that allowed us to excel for a number of years and gave us all pleasure. Beam says, after this disastrous Olympics, it's time for everyone to lower the temperature and allow good sense to prevail going forward. However, knowing Jamaica culture, I won't hold my breath. I think there'll be so much frustration. Look, when you have had continued success over what, a 16, 18-year period, when all you know is significant success, even when the men weren't doing good in the last couple of Olympics, or the last Olympics, I should say, the women were doing fantastic. So then you men and women haven't performed, expects maybe for Keishane, and he even didn't maximize his potential. Then it's a tough pill to swallow, right? So it won't be a pleasant conversation. No, Merlin always make us feel like she could get gold. Merlin Ati always make us feel like she could get gold. And she used to run really well until she was a better Asafa, put it that way. So I think about it. Because she won a world championship. But yeah, Bold, Shelley, Veronica ran well too. Yeah, you're right. We got spoiled. Very much so. We got spoiled. All these athletes were world champions multiple time or Olympic champions. So yeah, you got to put Blake in there too. I mean, Bolt may overshadow Blake, but Blake was there. Blake was Bolt's competition at one point, right? He won a world championship 100 meters. He came second to Bolt quite a bit of time. So I think Blake hasn't gotten his due, actually. He did better than Asafa. I think without Bolt, Blake would be the man. Think about it. Without Bolt, Blake would be up there, be competing with Tyson Gay more than anything else. Especially when he beat Bolt with, what was it, 2011 World Championship? Where he made Bolt pick start. Says a lot about him. If you can make Bolt pick start, then because if he feels the pressure, then you know that, you know what? You have done well. I think Blake has the second fastest time over the two. Or is it the one? I'm probably mistaken. I'm confusing them. No, Tyson Gay, I think, have second fast over the one. Yeah, he is, but so is Asafa. Look, I think athletes sometimes have How did I think about this? Their look, I think for Blake, given how well, here's the problem that athletes have sometimes. So because Jamaica is used to so much success, the athletes, when they leave Jamaica show and go to Europe, for example, familiarity breeds contempt. So they may be so cherished in those environments and treated with such respect and lauded. We give them the respect, but mainly more at the point in time that they're performing. And then when they're not performing well, we probably just move on. But when they go to other environment, people see them, hear them, talk to them, engage them. Those people give them the love and the flowers because they're saying, "We've seen you. You're wonderful. Respect and love you." But I don't think Jamaica does that well. So there's going to be bitterness there to say, you know what, my people don't appreciate me. But at least have to understand, when you know along the public high, you're not performing well, people move on. So you also need to move on. Yeah, Warren, we can and we will and we do, but will it affect change? That's the question. So Remax said they're going to say that France team is filled with NBA players, and that's the only way they could have competed. No, I mean, if they played in Europe, they would still compete. But I think the point people are making is that if all the best players in the world play in the same league, then it should be a world championship. And I'm saying no, because you're not picking from the world, you're picking just from the one league. Right? It's like saying the Premier League is the world championship of football because they have the most money and most of the best players supposed to play there. Now some people complain and say, no, they play in La Liga or they play in some places. But it's the same concept. A little bit more so for basketball because the top players are probably spread between La Liga, the Premier League, and maybe the Bundesliga, right? While in basketball, it's probably the Euro and the NBA. DC said Jamaica tends to be pretty poor at giving esteemed people their flowers, not just in sports. I think track and field athletes get their flowers. It may not be sustained flowers, but they get their flowers. I said on my channel the other day that I think a few weeks ago, I think there are some people from an athletic standpoint. Yeah, well, Merlin wasn't feeling the love, so she moved. From an athletic standpoint, who are beyond criticism, and some people give me flack about that, which I'm like, no, they're legends, and to me, I think it's a legend point in the sport. Now, if you do things in your personal life which is inappropriate, then yeah, you can get criticized. But if you're Shelly Ann, if you're Bolt, if you're Lane, when it comes to on the field performance, you're beyond criticism as far as I'm concerned. Beyond criticism. If Elaine doesn't run another race, hey Elaine, thank you. You've been wonderful. I don't care about you and what Fanon, because this is money thing, and people protect their money, especially when they're getting older. Do what you need to do. So anyway, let's go. 4x4 people are coming out, people. 2 minutes before the race. Let me go to the teams quickly. Let me go through this quickly. It's supposed to be at 3 o'clock. 4x4 for the men. So it doesn't matter to Jamaica. We're just gonna call it a race anyway. We're not in it. South Africa lane 1. And people, South Africa is in almost every single, a lot of races. I won't say every single race, but they're in a lot. They may not win a lot of medals, but you can see that they're making progress. People, Japan is here and Jamaica is not here. Japan is in 2. Zambia, which is a good team, in 3. United States is in 4. Belgium is in 5. The Botswana team with the 200-meter runner in Tobago is in lane 6. Great Britain, good team. Lane 7. France, lane 8. Italy, lane 9. The 4x4 for men. No Jamaica. Jamaica. Hey, this is a bad Olympics, people. It started off bad and it's ending bad. Jamaica didn't make the 4x4. Jamaica's always one coming second or third in this race. BME says Merlin waited until 40 to switch countries. She should have done it early in her career. Yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough. I think Merlin felt unappreciated. Omar is predicting a USA Olympic record. Should be interesting. DC said, once heard someone ask, what has Lewis been done for Jamaica? My mind just fell to the ground. Well, I mean, DC, there are a lot of young people that know Lewis Bennett, right? So you if you don't know something, you can't appreciate it, then what are you gonna do? Now, I must admit, I'm very perturbed with my cable company. I had regular cable people, which I still do. And when you have regular cable, it's a direct feed you're going. By the way, the 16-year-old's in the stands, he's not even changed. When Quincy Wilson is in the stand, Quincy Wilson is the youngest person they're saying ever to compete in a track and field event in Olympic history. Wow, that's big. I know Sydney, I think, was 16 too, but she may have not have been as young as he is. He almost was the youngest man to ever have the U.S. knock out of the 4x4. But lucky for him, that wasn't the case. And my cable company actually gave me some new boxes, and I felt so good. You have new shiny toy, and they're nice. You can say NBC or CBS or ABC. Problem is, it's about 10 seconds slower than my previous cable box, which is an older box. Because I think they're streaming here, so I may be changing my cable company, or at least changing my. If it's a feed, I'm not gonna pay all this money for cable. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna get like YouTube cable or something, YouTube streaming, because Verizon streaming ain't that good for me to be paying them and not. I don't like to watch races where I'm behind. I'll be honest, and this is ridiculous. But anyway, race getting ready to start, people. 4x4 for men. U.S. are the overwhelming favorite. Great Britain should have a good team. Botswana has a good team, and they're off. They may be off already. They're off to a good start. Let's see. It's pretty even start so far. Look like Bahamas is making up. Let me see something. Let me talk about Bahamas. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. South Africa is out there in front. Give me 1 second, people. I picked up the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, Bahamas is running well. Bahamas is running well with the U.S. U.S. looking good in the middle of the track, actually. France is running well. Let's see the changeover. So France is running well. Great Britain running well. Belgium running well. And of course, the U.S. is doing what they normally do. They look like they're in the lead, even though it doesn't look like that already, but they're in the lead. So U.S. is out front. The U.K. have its best runner running the second leg. That's interesting. Hudson Smith running the second leg. So it's Botswana in front from the U.K., U.S. third, Belgium fourth. Really interesting race. Those are going to be the four. I think that's the four running for medals right there. Botswana in front, in good place at their second. They're in the second leg, They're in second place because we still have Tobago to go. Look, Tobago is maybe running the last leg. USA, Botswana, Great Britain. I think Britain will run out because I think they ran their best runner on. They ran their best runner on the second leg. So US is out in front and he's pushing. USA from Great Britain and Botswana. It's going to be an interesting last lap, people. But if Quincy gets it in front, it's over, right? So USA, Great Britain, Botswana. And that's how they come around the bed. Belgium is way back in fourth, South Africa fifth. USA in front, coming on the stretch. Botswana is pulling him in. And this USA from Botswana. Here come Botswana on the USA. Should have been a brilliant last run, actually. Botswana. So it's Tobago and Quincy. Yes, people. No, it's Benjamin, right? Benjamin, actually. I think Tobago is going to eat him. Tobago and Rye, Britain is third. This is going to be a fabulous ending. It's Rye from Tobago, and Tobago is just tracking him. If he gets him in the last 100 and it's about speed, Rye is going to get squeezed. Botswana, Rye from Tobago, Britain is third. It's a two-horse race. Tobago is trying to keep up with him. Rye's pulling away, but here comes Tobago. It's Rye on the other side. It's Tobago. It's Rye holding him off. Here comes Tobago. He's trying to pull him in. Rye's holding on. Rye may just hold him out. Tobago is coming. It's Rye, Tobago, Rye, Tobago, Rye, Tobago. Rye wins it. Brilliant run by Rye, I must admit. Brilliant run. And Tobago must be tired. He's run a lot of races. Brilliant run by Rye. I think Great Britain must run third, actually. Tobago had him on his heel, but Rye saved enough energy and strength down the stretch. Tobago was cutting him down. If he had 10 more meters, maybe, but Rye held him off. Brilliant run by Rye. Brilliant run. Great race. Much better race than I thought it would be, people. Much better race. Brilliant. Brilliant. Love it. Show you the hurdle runners who are running 46 something. They can do. Rye was running 44 this year, actually. So, but Botswana, a brilliant team, by the way. Botswana, a brilliant team. Tobago is dead tired. Botswana is a brilliant team. Tobago ran a lot of races, actually, so it's not surprising he's tired. He did run in the semifinals, so it's not surprising. But Botswana did a brilliant second leg, actually. Matthew Hudson-Smith didn't pull in the Botswana runner. Botswana actually ended up first on the third leg, but the changeover was poor. They didn't get the best changeover on the third leg. Rye actually held Tobago, because he was probably about a meter or two in front of Tobago. Tobago didn't gain on him. But good run, Tobago. I agree with that. You got a silver for your country. I love these kind of races. I think Rye ran a smart race. He didn't try to sprint on and leave Tobago initially, because I always think runners should run like that. He saved enough for the last four. And he's looking at the clock. He's watching. He's looking at the screen. See where Tobago is. And Tobago was trying to wait before he made his run and couldn't pull him in. Yeah, no, they have been brilliant. They have been brilliant. They've been brilliant. Rye ran a brilliant race. Brilliant race by Rye. Got to give him his credit. So, people, the last race of the day, which should be a good one too, which will come to us in about 8 minutes. The women's 4x4. Jamaica's in this one, so we have something to cheer about. Canada is lane 2. Belgium lane 3. It's amazing that Jamaica is not running 4x4 for men. Like, that's ludicrous. Oh, Quincy didn't run for U.S. actually. I didn't see Quincy there. Must be injured. Let me go back to this actually. Brilliant run by Ram Benjamin, though. But Quincy didn't run. Maybe he's injured or something. He took a lot out of him when he ran the 4 for the U.S. individual 4. So lane 2 Canada for the women's 4x4. Lane 3 Belgium. Lane 4 Ireland. Lane 5 Netherlands. The Netherlands and U.S. are side by side. Wonder what leg Femke Bol gonna be running versus the alien. Okay, yeah, I didn't see Quincy, so Floyd is saying he's injured. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't see much. That shows you how good their team is. Shows you how good their team is. And the New Zealander Amish Kerr won the high jump. It looks like national record for him. Good run by Rai Benjamin, though. Whose parents, by the way, are Antiguan? Yeah, no, Rai's a brilliant runner. He won the 400 hurdles and then came back. I wonder if he ran the flat 4, what he would run. Because he just looks so calm. He doesn't even look stressed when he's running. Yeah, Samish won the high jump. Yeah, Quincy almost lost it for them. And if he didn't, Botswana would have won the gold. So for the 4x4 woman, which is here in 6 minutes, last race of the day. And I'll say this since I haven't said it all afternoon. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. So Canada 2, Belgium 3, Ireland 4, Netherlands 5, United States 6, Great Britain 7, Jamaica 8, France 9. France have made a lot of finals. Surprise, South Africa is not here. They're in some of the finals. So the regular finalists are USA, Jamaica, and Great Britain. and sometimes Canada, always finalists here. I would say there's 3 here are normally finalists. We see Netherlands now who have the Frankie Bows of the world running really well. But I don't see how US loses this. Oh, he did. Okay. Didn't know that, actually. I think he represented Antigua Barbuda as a junior. I guess the US convinced him to switch. Sure, he make more money from it. The Botswana team looked tired, but they're brilliant runners. They ran really well. I know one runner got tripped up in the race. I forgot from which country, but one runner got tripped up. But it was always a 3-team race or a 2-team race, actually. And Britain came third. Very, very, very good race. 1 second, people. I have to jump here and do something. Give me 1 second. Let me get this thing done. So we have 1 race remaining on the track. The women's 4x4, women getting their due, getting the last race of the day. Awesome. Toboga is an athlete, strong athlete, running so many hard races. Yes, he is. Hopefully it doesn't mess him up. I'm sure he's going to run on the circuit after this. But he should. He's a brilliant athlete, brilliant athlete, and it shows in his performances. He ran well in the 1. Then he have a national record, personal best. He won the 2, and he got a silver in the 4x4. So he also was a world junior champion in the 100, right? So I remember when he won that race. He was running against what's the kid from KC name? I can't remember. But he was showing off at a same thing he accused Noah of. He was doing at 80 meters. Funny how athletes are. So the same thing he accused Noah of doing, like being a showboat, he was doing that in his race when he won the World Junior Under 20 Championship in track and 100-meter track championship. So Gabby Thomas is also. Oh wow, the US has a stacked team. Sydney running, Gabby running. Their team is stacked. It's hard for them to do. Jamaica is standing behind them. And we should see who's on the Jamaica team. We want to know who's the 4 going to be running. But they have about 7 runners and only 4 can run. We'll see what the 4 are when they come out. Omar says another record for USA. Yeah. By the way, the world record is set in 1988 by the USSR, 3:15:17. Olympic and world record in Seoul, South Korea. That was the days when it was the Wild West. So records were in abundance. So the US have Holmes, McLaughlin, Gabby Thomas, and can't tell who on the 4th person. And Little, they have a really good team. Didn't Little run the mixed relays too? I thought she did, actually. She did a lot of running. This should be a good race, people. Really good race. What are you guys picking for this race? I'm not sure who should be picked for this. I think, I should say, who are you picking for 2nd and 3rd? Why does Gabby and McLaughlin in the US team, they look nervous? Or are they just focused? Which one is it? They should just be walking this race. Belgium have a lot of runners nowadays. Belgium has gotten better. Ireland is out there too. Wow. US. Belgium, Ireland, USA, the Netherlands, Great Britain. It should be a really good race. Now, why is NBC just popped out? What's that about? The Jamaica team is out, and they look ready. Whoa. Stacey Ann McPherson still running? Wow. She's a good relay runner, though. Even at what, about 35? Last race of the day, the women's 4x400 meters. Big race, big time. Jamaica team look happy and bouncing. And Jamaica is an interesting lane. Lane 8 is a tough lane, I think. You'd love to be in like lane 6, 5, or about 5 or 6 you want to be in. If you look at the season's best time, the US is 3:21. They're the best time this season. Almost a second better than everybody else. Netherlands is 3:22. So is Ireland. So is Belgium. I think Jamaica will come about 3:22 this time. Okay. Should be a good race. Women are there. McLaughlin is just so. I think she looks like she has anxiety. If I was as good as her, I would have no anxiety. I'd be very confident out there. Very, very confident. Yeah, no, she runs well for somebody. She always runs really well anyway. Even though when she doesn't run the individual well, I think she runs really well, Michael. So it's a good thing. Now, if McLaughlin runs anchor and Fenky Ball is close to her, it's not even going to be close. Fenky Ball cannot run the McLaughlin. McLaughlin may not be running anchor though. They don't want to give themselves such a big lead, so they probably have her run like third leg. So the world record, people, is 3:15.17. And the US ran 3:21. That's a 6-second difference now. 3:15 is hard to do. 3:15 is hard to do. And they're off. A really good start by everyone. I see how Jamaica is doing. Jamaica is pulling in France. Oh, she doesn't start off too fast. She actually catches France almost about the 200 meters. Little running good for the US. So is the UK. US is in the lead already, people. Race is over. US is in the lead, it looks like. Jamaica is actually look like they're in the lead, but I think the US is in the lead. France is down the track already. Yeah, the US is in the lead by Dudley Martin, but Netherlands are running well. So Jamaica will hand over first, but the US is in the lead. Actually, no, US hand over first. Wow. And they gave it to the alien, and the race is over, basically. They have the alien running second leg. Jamaica is going to be in second or third when they come off the bend, and maybe fourth, actually, because Ireland is there. Yeah, Jamaican runner died. Ran well in the first, but US is out in front. Jamaica is in second. Ireland is in third. US is way out in front. The alien is stretching her lead as they come to the 100-meter mark to go home. And Jamaica runner has pulled up. Wow. This tells you everything about Libya. Jamaica runner has pulled up. An amazing championship for Jamaica. She just pulled up. I have no idea what happened to her. She didn't grab a medal up much like she pulled. She just pulled up. She just stopped running. Gabby Thomas have it. US trying to break the world record, it looks like. They're going to win easily. But I have no idea what happened to Jamaica runner. She just pulled up. She just stopped running. She stopped running at the top of the stretch. She just stopped. She didn't grab her hamstring. She didn't drop. She just stopped running. You can't have a worse Olympics. Seriously. So US in front with Gabby Thomas. McLaughlin almost stepped on her when they made the exchange. Gabby Thomas is slowing down. Gabby Thomas is slowing down quite a bit, actually, but they still have about a 20-meter lead. Be hard for Frankie Bowl to pull it in, but it's not impossible. Gabby Thomas has slowed down significantly, so the U.S. get it. I don't think the U.S. is going to lose this. Frankie Bowl may try, but it ain't going to happen. Not enough time. Frankie is trying to make that run. All the U.S. girl has to do is just jog and not try to stretch too much. Don't go for the record. Yeah, they're leading by about 20, a lot, 35 meters. It's not even close. Frankie Boy will come second. She's just tracking the Ireland runner and the British runner in front of her. She's not even concerned. I don't know if the Jamaican runner dropped the bat, not just dropped, but she just stopped running. US going to win easy. 3:03:10, 3:11, 3:12, 3:13, 3:15:27. You know they could have broken the world record. If Gabby ran a better, they would have broken the world record tonight. If Gabby ran a better race, they'd have broken the world record. If Gabby ran a better race, they'd have broken the world record. I think Gabby slowed down significantly. Oh, she had a collision. Okay. Yeah, she just stopped. So I know something went wrong. So she must have it's your job to protect the baton. The baton can't get out of your hand. It's your job to protect the baton. I don't care what's happening around you. You should not be dropping that baton. Sorry. Not excusable. Not excusable. And Jamaica was in a good slot too. Wasn't a terrible slot that we're in. So US won both the men's and women's 4x4. Stacey Ann, her last Olympics, McPherson, and she's inconsolable. Inconsolable. Didn't give her a chance to run. It's ridiculous. Yep, that it does, people. This race says everything about Jamaica and their performance in the Olympics. A nightmare. Whether it's a 4x1 for men, 4x1 for women, whether it's the 4x4 for women, which is a race it's hard for you to. I don't know what happened. It looked like, and McPherson is crying her heart out. Because let me see what happened to Jamaica. So she's there. The Ireland runner come up on her. She's putting her hand back. Yeah, the runner, she's not holding it back. I don't know. It happens. Accident. The runner ran up on her, and her hand hit her, and the baton fell out. Yeah, she's in front. She's in second place. They're in good place. The runner beside her ran up in behind her. Her hand came back and hit the runner. Her hand went back too far too. Can't blame anyone. The baton, her hand hit the runner and it fell. All right, people. I'm gonna close this down. It's been a long Olympics. It's been a nightmare for Jamaica. I haven't even said that though. Jamaica probably come in the top 10 in terms of number of medals and in position for track and field, but it's a nightmare in the track. The field events did phenomenally well. We won 4 field events. No, I'm sorry, 4 field events medal. Yeah, Gabby got 4x1, 4x. Yes, she won 3 gold medals. We got 4 field events medal, but only 20 track. And frankly, we would have gotten a medal in the women, I think, 4x4, except for the unfortunate incident that occurred, which is if you're bringing your hand back, that shouldn't happen. The runner run up on her, but you got to hold on to the baton. Sorry. You got to hold the baton. That's on you. That's on you. You're Jamaica. You're just like, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. Yeah. I think if Gabby Thomas ran a better leg, they break the record, I think Gabby was tired. All right, everyone. First of everyone, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't hit the like button, do so. It's been a nightmare Olympics. It's unfortunate what transpired. But in every difficult situations, there are lessons to be learned. So yes, Michael says, see you all in Vegas. For what, Michael? 2028? Let's hope we're all here 2028. No, the baton, she didn't know where the baton was, Cygnus. She had no idea where the baton was. The baton hit and just went, wow, it didn't fall in front of her. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But that's Jamaica's Olympics. 2028? Thought it was in LA. But anyway. People, thanks for being here. Appreciate being here. I should be back on Monday with Kranky Live from 6 to 8. And if I feel up to it, Balanced Views, 9 p.m. Balanced Views is everything but sports. Kranky Live is sports. We'll be doing more variation in our sports as we go forward. Can't talk about track and field anymore except if they have some Diamond League event, which I probably will do if they do. It is basketball time now, which I'm going to watch, but I'm not doing the game. And I will be doing a show on Monday. I have no idea what the topics will be, but I'm sure EPL is here. I'm sure we can talk about Jamaica football situation and the coach and what we should be doing. I'm sure I can talk about the junior teams that got 20 love in 2 games. The girls got 11, the boys got 9. The boys ended up getting 15 in total. I think the girls have about 20 in total, what the number was. There's a lot to talk about. There's NBA going to come up in a few months. There's NFL coming up. So a lot to talk about, people. So all the best. Enjoy your weekend. Glad you were here. Glad you could join me. I appreciate you being here. Hit that button before you leave. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play some music before I go out. Bless all people. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Kranky Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Kranky Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky Life, tell them. Kranky Life, heed them. Kranky Life, want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky Life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky Life, give me my Kranky Life. I want my Kranky Life. Must have my Kranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky Life. Tell them, Kranky Life. Heed them, Kranky Life. Want them, Kranky Life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Kranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Kranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Kranky will always bring the heat. Kranky Live. Me say fi tell them Kranky Life. Me say fi heed them Kranky Life. On them Kranky Life. Kranky Life will be around. Kranky Life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Kranky Life. Kranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Kranky, Kranky, Kranky live. Kranky, Kranky, Kranky live. Kranky. Heed, wonder, heed, wonder, heed, one, heed, one, heed them.